Okay, so let's start now. For closure of account also, like in bank accounts, you'll have to give a request to the depository participant. You'll also have to ensure that the account balance is zero. So all the securities which you have in your demat account, you probably will have to transfer into another account or sell them off and ensure that the demat account is zero, and then give the closure application. And in case it's a joint account, the application needs to be signed by all account holders. So the application should be made by account holder or by joint account holder in case of joint account. An account can be closed only when there is no balance in the account. So there should be no securities in the account. Before closing the account, the depository participant should ensure that all pending transactions have been settled. So for example, you have given sell instruction. So only when your sell instruction is executed will you have a zero balance. So the depository participant has to ensure that. Now, in case there could be some pending demat or remat request or ISIN. ISIN is identification number. So in case so you have some shares which are not being traded. So what will you do? You cannot sell them. So you can just keep them in your account. However, the participant will have to freeze the account for suspended for debit and credit. That means you'll not be able to do any transaction till the time your account is closed. So when the request is received, CDSL system will change status of such account to be closed and close the account when all balances are reduced by 0. Depository participant can affix a rubber stamp to create a suitable system that will clearly show on the SOT. I'm missing on SOT that the account has to be closed. There can be various reasons for which the customer want to close the account. Some people might want to consolidate. And some, they might want to bring all shares into one account, and this can be achieved by using off-market transaction. Now, there are two kind of transactions which can happen in the market. So we have seen that in case you want to buy and sell securities in the market, you have to necessarily go through a broker because you do not know who wants to buy your securities. However, in certain cases, if you want to transfer these securities to some family members, for example, in that case, you cannot, you don't have to go to the broker. You can just simply give instruction to your depository participants to deliver your shares. Okay, so those are known as off-market transaction. That means you're not going to the market, you're doing the transaction without going to the market. Also, the depository participant can initiate the closure if the customer has not complied with the certain requirements. The depository participant can close the account. However, he'll have to give a 30 days notice before this closure. Similar to that bank account closure, so bank can also close the account when a request is received from the customer. Also, in case the bank has sent some reminder to the customer for compliance and he is not reverted, so the bank can also close the account giving 30-day notice to the customer. So DP can initiate closure of the client account if the client has defaulted in performing its obligation laid down by the depository participant beneficial owner agreement. In CDSL, a 30-day notice is required. And the notice should clearly state the reason for closure. So closure or shifting of your clearing account. So you have to make, clearing member cannot exit. So clearing member might shift his account from one DP to another DP. So simultaneously, you'll have to make application for closure of the earlier DP account and opening of new clearing member account of a new DP. Once the application is approved, the new DPA opens a new clearing account and intimates the depository about the new client ID. Now this is different because this is an account which is held, which is used for clearing transactions. So the procedure would be different. The old depository participant then closes the account and intimates the clearing member. In CDSL, the clearing member can close his clearing account with one DP and open the same with another DP without any need of approval from CDSL. Now there can be mass shifting of accounts. So we have seen in case the registration of the DP expires and he cannot maintain the account, so he'll have to he will have to there will be mass shifting of accounts. Okay. So your DIS or delivery instruction slips also have to be submitted. All unused delivery instruction slips have to be submitted. That's the way you submit your checkbook at the time of closure of your account. So the client submits an account closure request in the format as specified by the depository and surrenders all unused depository instruction slips. A DP should verify the documents submitted by the client, and if found in order, the DP shall effect transfer of the securities. Serial number pertaining to unused delivery instruction slip should be permanently blocked in the system of the participant, and the account of client should be closed. So DP should request to the repository seeking credit of transaction fees pertaining to account closure cases. And this should be made only if case of shifting accounts through inter-depository and transfer to legal heirs and nominee in case of NSDL. अच्छा, आपके दिमाग में शायद ये आ रहा होगा कि हम ये क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं. हम ये इसलिए पढ़ रहे हैं कि डिपॉजिटरी पार्टिसिपेंट्स के साथ भी वैकेंसीज होती हैं. ठीक है. आप जैसे कि if you have to work in the mutual fund industry or if you have to distribute mutual funds, you need to have a NISM certification. Similarly, if you have to work for a depository participant, you need to have a certification. So in future, anytime if you want to work for a depository participant and you want to work in this space, then you will need a certification. And that certification, for obtaining that certification, all of this is needed. So we are just reading it or we are just studying it as a part, learning it as a part of, again, increasing our employability. So there can be vacancies in the bank, there can be vacancies in the AMCs, there can be vacancies at the depository participants. So if you want a job in the BFSI space, all these certifications will help. Also, when you help in the, you work in a bank and they are looking for wealth managers, the bank expects wealth managers to be aware of the investment scenario of the depository operations, because only then you will be able to guide your customers accordingly. So that's why we are reading it. We have to understand how the security markets work in India. So there is actually no technicality to it. It's only about operations. So we have already studied the role of financial intermediations, the issuers who issue the securities, the investors who invest. So now this is the dematerialization process is about dealing with these issued security in the electronic form, and that's why probably we are trying to learn it to understand better working. So because if you work in a bank as a wealth manager, your client would expect you to know how this works. Yeah, and that is the reason why we are reading it. I know uh, it is only information, and you might find it too overwhelming, but that is why we are studying it. Okay. Now, what do you think freezing of account would mean? What is freeze?
Ma'am, freezing of accounts.
Correct.
Yeah.
Transaction is
Correct. जैसे
restricted.
अगर आप पानी ऐसे ही
Transaction is
रखोगे तो
restricted.
बहने लगेगा. Yeah. So freezing is something which stops the liquidity. Yeah. So we've seen it with ice. If you put water in the ice tray and you freeze it, you can for at least for some time keep that ice cube at one place. It will not move. So freezing of account would mean no movement. Okay. So there can be a credit freeze. There can be a debit freeze. Credit is that the customer does not want anything to be credited. Debit is that the customer does not want anything to be debited. Also, sometimes some regulatory authorities can give this instruction. So that is possible for bank accounts. It is also possible for demat accounts. So freezing of account would basically means to stop the movements of securities in the account. So account freezing means suspending any further transaction from a depository account till the account is unfrozen. So on specific number of securities in demat account may be frozen in certain cases. So for example, if you are pledging your securities or hypothecating your securities, that means you're taking a loan against your securities. Obviously, the lender would want you to freeze that securities in your account so that you cannot sell them. Okay? So there can be many reasons for freezing the account. The reverse can also be done after the account is frozen. Instructions can be given to reactivate the account. The frozen account may be unfrozen or reactivated by taking reverse step. This can be done by valid written request of the account holder where he has requested freezing. Directors of depository made in pursuance of order to of appropriate authorities. So this I've told you, like even statutory authorities or regulators can give instruction for freezing of an account. The DP should immediately inform the client about change in status of the account from active to suspended and vice versa. So if there is a change in the status of the account, the customer should be informed. Now, what can be the changes in client details? Client में क्या change हो सकता है?
Ma'am.
लिया है आपने उससे?
Yes, ma'am. There could be a change in their address.
Correct. They can be changed in their phone number, email address.
Yeah,
okay.
phone number, email address, and these things.
Can be changed with a DP as well. However, all changes have to be in writing. So people might also want to add their father's name or husband's name or standing instruction facility, telephone number, occupational detail, nominee detail. People might want to change bank details, PAN number. If it was not provided, they might want to provide that. RBI reference number for NRIs, email address. So there can be any change in the account. However, the written request has to be submitted to depository for undertaking those requests. Now, they can be transmission and nomination. Now, why is nomination? What is nomination?
Nomination.
After the death of beneficiary, nominee can take benefit.
Death of who?
Who will be the next beneficiary after the existing beneficiary passes away or something happens to him.
So on death of the account holder, who this securities should be passed will be decided by the nomination which the investor does during his lifetime. So when the securities are transferred from the name of the deceased beneficiary to the nominee, this is known as transmission. Yes, transmission is transmitting it to somebody else. Okay. So transmission means devolution of title of shares. For example, devolution by death, unancy, bankruptcy, and winding up. The person on whom the shares devolve has a power, has to prove his entitlement by submitting appropriate document and seek transmission. So what do you think, which documents the nominee will have to submit for for transmission of shares? What are the documents which the nominee would have to submit?
Ma'am, I think identity proof of
Correct.
the person whom he wants to transfer. And
Yeah, so the investor is deceased and he has nominated someone. So nominee will have to prove that he is that person. No? So
Yeah.
he'll have to submit his ID and address. Okay. So so the process of transmission through a depository is simple as well as quicker before the successor to the title interacts only with the entity that is his depository participant. So if somebody has a nomination, it is very easy. On death of that person, it can simply pass it to the nominee. So under the provision of Companies Act, a shareholder, a debenture holder, a bond holder, or a deposit holder can nominate a person in whom the shares or debentures or bonds are deposited would vest in event of original investor's death. The facility can be availed of any person, whether resident Indian or a non-resident. So both the resident Indians or non-resident Indians can nominate. This we have seen in bank account also. Non-individual entities cannot nominate because they are all going concern. That means their existence will not depend on the existence of the director or the authorized signatory. So they are going concern. They will even uh, survive if the Karta, for example, dies. So you can not have a nomination for society, trust, corporate body, corporate, HUF. So you cannot have a nomination for non-individual entities. So if there is a nomination, transmission process is simpler. A nomination substitution shall be valid if submitted by the participant by the rightful client. Nomination form has been signed by all holders. It is in the prescribed format, duly signed by the client. It is properly signed and witnessed. Signature of the client tally with the specimen signature record. The details of securities entered in nomination form match those record of the participant. The CDSL nomination is applicable to the entire holding. The photograph of the nominee is annexed to the nomination form in case of NSDL. The nominee has signed the nomination form and guardian in case of nominee being a minor. So this we had seen in the in account this thing. Bank account also, in case the nominee is a minor, then the guardian a guardian has to be appointed. So in case of death of a single holder, the securities have to be transmitted in the name of the nominee. However, in case of joint holder, it can be transmitted to the surviving holders. So in case of death of one of the client in the joint holder, the surviving client shall request the DP to transfer the balance lying in the client account to the account of the surviving member. The surviving holders to have separate account with any depository participant. Client master report of such accounts. Ensure all surviving holders sign the transmission form. Ensure that transmission form is accompanied with a original or copy of notarized attested death certificate by a gazetted office. So death, there has to be a death for nomination. So there has to be a death certificate. Now transmission of securities held by a Karta in the depository. Now what happens in an HUF? If the Karta expires, who becomes, what happens to the HUF? Is it dissolved?
no, ma'am.
Is it end? Then what happens?
Ma'am, it is transferred to new Karta. Matlab that.
Yes. So there the eldest member is appointed as a Karta and the securities would be transferred to the new Karta. So transmission of security to the account of the new Karta from the account of deceased Karta. The surviving member through the new Karta shall make the application to the depository participant along with the following documents. So copy of death certificate is required, duly certified by a notary public or by a gazetted officer. So this we have seen enough. What is dematerialization? And who is going to tell? So Rahul, tell us the process of
ma'am.
dematerialization. How will the client get his shares dematerialized or his securities dematerialized? What will be the process?
हमें याद नहीं आ रहा।
याद नहीं आ रहा? ओके सिद्धार्थ, आपको याद है कि आपको भी याद नहीं आ रहा?
हाँ हेलो मैम।
हम्म
मैम डीमेटलाइजेशन मैम प्रोसेस है जिसमें क्लाइंट जो फिजिकल सर्टिफिकेट कन्वर्ट कर सकता है इलेक्ट्रॉनिक
Good.
बैलेंस।
तो कैसे करता है वो? क्या क्या करना होता है उसको?
मैम अकाउंट होना चाहिए सबसे पहले डिपॉजिटरी पार्टिसिपेंट।
डिपॉजिटरी पार्टिसिपेंट के साथ अकाउंट होना चाहिए, करेक्ट?
अकाउंट होना चाहिए।
करेक्ट। और क्या होना चाहिए फिर? कैसे करेगा वो?
मैम पहले जो डिपॉजिटरी जो होते हैं कंपनी जैसे NSDL हो गया या उसमें भी अकाउंट होना चाहिए।
तो उसका अकाउंट किसके साथ खोलेगा?
मैम पहला अकाउंट तो डीपी के साथ मतलब
कितने अकाउंट
डिपॉजिटरी
खोलना पड़ेगा?
पार्टिसिपेंट और दूसरा मैम सेबी के साथ सेबी या
ए भगवान, कुछ
सेबी
भी
नहीं मैम
सिद्धार्थ,
सॉरी
कहाँ से कहानी तुम बनाते हो? सेबी के साथ अकाउंट कौन सा
सेबी
खुलता
नहीं
है और
मैम
किसका अकाउंट खुलता
सेबी
है?
नहीं सेबी
हाँ
नहीं
हाँ, किसके साथ अकाउंट खोलना होगा बताओ? और कितने अकाउंट खोलने होंगे? किसके साथ अकाउंट खोलना होगा?
मैम पहला तो मैम डिपॉजिटरी पार्टिसिपेंट के साथ।
अच्छा,
DP
और दूसरा?
and DRF।
Ma'am,
नहीं,
may I
एक मिनट
have
रुक जाओ। आई वांट टू क्लैरिफाई सिद्धार्थ अंडरस्टैंडिंग। और दूसरा अकाउंट किसके साथ खोलना होगा?
मैम और नहीं पता है, याद नहीं आ
और
रहा
होता
है।
ही नहीं है, एक ही अकाउंट है भाई, क्यों कंफ्यूज हो रहे हो? Depository participant is the agent of the depository. So in
हाँ
case you
मैम वो
want
पता
to
है मैम।
maintain an account of with the depository, you'll have to go and open an account with the depository participant. So you are right when you said for dematerialization, a demat account is required. Yes. So the investor has opened the demat account. Now, how will he convert his physical securities into electronic form? What will he have to do? यस राहुल, आप कुछ बोल रहे थे?
यस मैम, यही बता रहे थे कि डीमैट अकाउंट खुलवाना पड़ेगा और डीपी मतलब सबमिट द रिक्वेस्ट टू डीपी।
Correct. He will have to give the request through the DRF or DMAT request form along with the certificate. So ये मैंने आपको clear understanding के लिए बताया था कि it is just like converting your physical cash into your electronic balance. So what you do, you fill a deposit instruction, deposit slip and write the details of the cash, write your account number and give it to the cashier. Cashier counts it, checks if everything is in order, collects that cash and credits your account with the amount you have deposited. So DRF is also similar. So DRF is a demat request form which you have to deposit with the securities you want to dematerialize. The depository participant will send it to the registrar and transfer agent, क्योंकि depository participant को पता नहीं है, क्योंकि he is not the issuer. Who is the issuer of these securities? कौन verify कर सकता है कि ये security सही है कि नहीं? One. Who will be able to verify if these securities are correct or not? Are
Ma'am,
genuine or not?
डिपॉजिटरी
DP would verify.
How DP would verify?
मैम
मैम रजिस्ट्रार
DRF
एंड
Registrar.
ट्रांसफर मैम रजिस्ट्रार एंड ट्रांसफर
Correct. Registrar and transfer agent or the issuer. So ये securities किसने issue किए? Issuer ने issue किए है ना? And registrar and transfer agents are the agents of the issuer. So either issuer will be able to tell or registrar would be able to tell on his behalf. So depository participant will only collect your certificate. He will send it to verification to the registrar and transfer agent. Only when the registrar and transfer agent confirm it to the depository, these certificates would be cancelled and the electronic credit would be given in his Demat account. Okay, so it is similar to your cash deposit. However, in cash, the transaction is direct because the cashier sitting at the counter can know whether the cash is genuine or not. However, in case of dematerialization, the DP wouldn't know because DP is not the issuer is a company, and the registrar and transfer agents maintain those records for on behalf of the issuer. So the depository participant will have to confirm it with the registrar and transfer agent. Okay. So we have seen this dematerialization is a process of holding the security in fungible form. That means one security is same as the other security. So earlier when share certificate would be issued, the share certificate would have a number. Also, the shares would have distinctive numbers. So for example, a company has issued 100 shares and there are 5 shareholders. So I'm the first shareholder. For example, I would have shares from 1 to 20. Now another investor would have 20 to 25, so on and so forth. So everybody would have distinctive numbers and folio numbers. This concept has been done away with in case of depositories. Say the loose or identification features in terms of share certificate number, distinctive numbers, and folio numbers. Also, these certificates are identified by ISIN. They tell you what kind of securities they are. So yesterday, one example I gave you, a Tata Power, for example, would have issued some shares. It could have also issued debentures. But to know which securities you are talking about, ISIN or International Security Identification Number would be used. And when you are transacting also, you will need to code this. So security dematerialized bear a distinctive ISIN. The ISIN is a unique identification number for each security issued by the International Standard Organization member countries. So they have a prefix, a basic number, and a checkbook. ISIN for GSECs or government security is done by Reserve Bank of India because Reserve Bank of India works as an agent for the government. SEBI assigned the ISIN to by NSDL. So all the other securities ISIN would be given by NSDL, where GSECs it will be given by Reserve Bank of India. So you can hold shares, scrip, stock, bonds, debenture, stock, or other marketable securities of similar nature of any incorporated companies or other body corporates, including underlying shares of ADR and GDR. Units of mutual funds, rights under collective investment scheme and venture capital funds, commercial paper, certificate of deposits, securitized debt, money market instrument, government securities, unlisted securities, all of them can be held in dematerialized form. So now we have discussed it, but let us see the dematerialized process. Also, so yes, having a demat account is required. Also, there should be an ISIN. Otherwise, how will the DP know which securities you want to dematerialize? Okay. So, so registered holder of the security should make the request. Only those securities whose ISIN have been activated by depository can be dematerialized in the depository system. The company issuer should have established connectivity with the depository. The request should be made in prescribed dematerialization request form, which is also known as the DRF. The holder of the security should have a beneficiary account in the same name as appears on the security certificate to be materialized. Okay, right? So, अगर मेरा account, Shiki Pandey के नाम से है, I cannot have securities. I cannot dematerialize securities in my name if the securities are in the name of, say, some other name. So for example, I have the account is in Shikhi Pandey's name, and the securities are in only the name of Shikhi. Then also I can't dematerialize. So it has to be, the name has to be the same. So the DRF has to be collected from the depository participant. Depository participant provides dematerialization request to their clients. The client completes the DRF in respects and submits to the depository participant along with the security certificate. So ये आपका exactly मतलब it is similar to your पेन स्लिप जो कि सबने शायद भरी होगी, सबने जाके कैश कभी ना कभी डिपॉजिट किया होगा. सो इट इज सिमिलर. तो उसमें आपका अकाउंट नंबर एंड नेम इज इम्पोर्टेंट, so which has to be there, and also the denomination of cash you're depositing has to be filled in. So here you'll have to fill in the details of the securities which you are depositing for dematerialization. So the DP checks the DRF for validity, completeness, and correctness. If the DRF and the accompanying securities certificates are not found in order, the DP should return the DRF with certificate. तो ये आपने देखा होगा कि जब आप कैश डिपॉजिट करने जाते हैं तो भी होता है, if your cash is not exactly the same as you have written in the same slip, the cashier would return it to you. And similarly, if the details of the securities you want to dematerialize is not filled in properly, the DP would return the form. The DRF and accompanying certificate are found in order. The DP should accept the DRF. The DP should enter the dematerialization request in the depository system, in the depository participant system, and a request number is generated, which is given to the customer. DP should ensure that certificates are defaced and mutilated before they are sent to the issuer or RTA. Issuer or RTA को जैसे मैंने आपको बताया आपको कि they are sent to verify the validity of this certificate, because these are the people who will know. Depository participant wouldn't know. So depository participant should forward the DRF and relevant security certificate to the issuer or the registrar and transfer agent for dematerialization. The issuer or its registrar and transfer agent verify the DRFs and the accompanying certificate for validity, completeness, and correctness. In case there's some objection, then the DP will inform the client accordingly and request removal of reason for objection. If the DP fails to remove the objection within 15 days, the issuer or RNT agent may reject the request and return DRF and accompanying certificate to the depository participant. So rejection हो सकता है. These are some rejections which can happen. Physical quantity of shares received by RNT agent from DP is more or less than what is mentioned in the demat request form. So in that case, new DRF would have to be filled in. So DP may contact RNT agent for any further clarification and may submit fresh demat request form to RNT for excess quantity, if any, quoting reference of objection letter and previous DRN to enable RNT agent to link related entities documents. Some certificate received by RNT agent from DP are found to be fake or reported lost or stolen, and stop instruction is recorded. That means these certificates are not genuine, and duplicate certificate earlier issued by RT or forged fake endorsement of names. So here nothing can be done. It would be just be informed to the client. So RNT agent may retain document received from the DP. DP may contact RNT for any further clarification, quoting reference of objection letter to enable RNT agent to link related entities or documents. तो मान लीजिए अगर आपका काउंटरफीट नोट निकल आता है तो उसमें कुछ नहीं कर सकते ना, काउंटरफीट नोट है तो आपका लॉस है. तो ऐसे ही अगर सर्टिफिकेट्स हैं, डुप्लीकेट सर्टिफिकेट्स हैं या काउंटरफीट सर्टिफिकेट्स हैं, देन इट्स अ लॉस. किसका माइक कौन है? राहुल यादव. So other reasons of rejection can be name of the holders, details of some other, sorry. So name of holders or details of all certificate or some certificate differ on all some certificate received by R&T agents, differ in the remat request form received by the R&T agent from the DP. So here again, the client will have to submit fresh request form to the R&T agent with correct particulars, quoting reference to objection letter and previous DRN to enable R&T agent to link the related entities document. So for example, मैंने मेरा account तो joint account है और जो securities है वो single name है. So there's a discrepancy. All are sent to incorrect R&T by DP. Obviously, R&T will not retain any incorrect or incomplete document, but will return it to the depository participants. Certificate not received by R&T in time from the DP. So depository participant may forward certificate for dematerialization with DP request form and RT to R&T agent under a new fresh DRN. So basically, यहाँ पे depository participant is acting as a mediator between the investor and the company. So the depository participant would not know if the securities are valid or in whose name the securities are registered. So only when it goes to the R&T agent, we will be able to they will be able to know about the status of the securities. Another objection is signature of the client on demat request form does not tally with the signature of holder recorded in R&T. So ये आपको बैंक में भी कभी-कभी आता है ना, आप चेक इशू करते हो और चेक ऑनर नहीं होता है because your signature differ. So in that case, the customer would have to either attest his signature or sign a fresh DP and send. So R&T agent will return all documents and DP will set up a new DRN with correct signature and document. Also, there can be stopped instruction. So stop recorded as per bank lien statutory authority court order in computer master of R&T against all some certificate received for dematerialization from the DP. So your R&T agent would may retain the document received by the DP. Client may contact R&T agent for any further clarification, quoting reference to objection, enable R&T agent to link related entities document. So basically, until the the certificates and the DRF is in order, demat request will not be processed. So all objections have to be clarified before the demat request is processed or the shares are converted into digital form. There can be clerical errors as well. So demat request initiated under wrong ISIN. So in this case, a fresh demat request is to be generated with the correct ISIN. What is ISIN? Siddharth, what is ISIN?
मैम क्या व्हाट इज फिर से बोलिएगा.
ISIN ये सामने लिखा है ना आपको यहाँ पे प्रेजेंटेशन में ISIN. पर्पस क्या होता है इसका? ISIN क्या है, इसका पर्पस क्या है?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, ISIN stands for International Security Identification Number, and it is a unique code number allotted for identification of securities.
Correct. Right. So the purpose is to identify one security from another security. So ISIN is the ISIN has to be mentioned directly for the R&D agent to convert the right securities. Okay. So in case the ISIN is wrong, then a fresh form has to be filled in for with the right ISIN. Allotment, call money, payment not attached. So how many of you remember call money? You remember when we did it at the time of
Yes, ma'am.
understanding
Yes, ma'am.
different.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is
Call
call
money
money?
is the short-term borrowing for the bank,
Borrowing for ultra short term.
ultra short-term.
Oh, that is
Call money, notice money, ma'am.
no. It is not related to money market.
Ma'am, borrowing by the corporates.
No.
Ma'am, call money borrowing by bank to another bank.
I just told it's no, we are not talking about the money market here. We're not talking about the call money and the notice money. Now, probably you guys have forgotten, we have seen it at the time of understanding how companies issue shares. So if you remember, sometimes the company does not call for the entire money at one time, they call for some amount of money. So for example, they have issued a 100 rupee share. So they call for 50 rupees and the rest 50 has to be paid in later. That is the call money. So we are not talking about the call money in terms of interbank borrowing. We are talking about the call money of in reference to the company raising money in the market. You know, so there might be some shares for which the investor has not paid in the call money. So 100 rupees का शेयर था, customer ने सिर्फ 50 rupees पे किया है. Okay. So the customer would have to fully pay the security before converting them into dematerialized shares. Okay, so client to attach the allotment or call money payment advice and submit the same to the DP for generating a new DRM. Security is not available for demat. Obviously, the securities have to be returned because if they don't have an ISIN or they are not available for demat, then the registrar in transfer agent will have to reject. So so R&D agent may reject the demat request and forward the reject document to the DP. DP will contact the client and inform the client accordingly. So any dispute has to be sorted out by the SEBI guidelines for good or and bad deliveries of document as done in case of physical security. Now there can be transportation come dematerialization. So we have seen a process of transmission. Transmission would mean transferring the security from in the name of the deceased holder to surviving holders or to the nominee. Now transportation or transposition has to do with the position. So for example, A and B hold the demat account as A the first holder and B as the second holder. However, the shares which they have, B is the first holder and A is the second holder. So the demat account is in the name of A and B, and the shares are in the name of B and A. Okay. So now these shares cannot be credited to the demat account. For this, transposition would be required. That means the position of the shareholders in the share certificate would has to be changed. So A has to become the first holder and B has to become the second holder for credit of the demat account. So this process is known as transposition. So to remember, you can remember that transposition has to do with position. So change in the name in the position of names is transposition. So now it might be uncommon, but you know, 15 years back or 20 years back when dematerialization was actually started, a lot of people had to dematerialize their securities along with transposition, because some securities were held by A and B, some were held by B and A, and it was difficult to maintain all the records. So the securities had to be transported. Transposition, that means the position of the names in the share certificate had to be changed. So in case of transposition come dematerialization, the client can get securities dematerialized in the same account if the name appearing on the certificate match with the name in which the account has been opened but in different order. The same may be done by submitting the security certificate along with a transposition form and DRF. So transposition is the process of changing the sequence of name in the share certificate or securities. Now it can be transmission come dematerialization also. So in case one of the holder is died, we'll have to transmit these shares and along with dematerialization. So in case of death of one or more of joint holders, the surviving holders get the name of the deceased removed from the security certificate and get them dematerialized by submitting the security certificate along with the transmission form and DRF to the participant. ट्रांसमिशन फॉर्म के साथ एक और डॉक्यूमेंट चाहिए होगा, वो क्या है? क्या डॉक्यूमेंट इंपॉर्टेंट है फॉर ट्रांसमिशन? वन डॉक्यूमेंट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट.
मैम, बेनिफिशियरीज आइडेंटिफिकेशन प्रूफ.
तो हाँ, अगर मतलब if the beneficiary is not is a surviving holder, then yes, but one more document which is the basis of transmission.
Ma'am, death certificate.
Yes. So death certificate
of the
is
deceased.
the most important document for transmission. The shares can be transmitted only in case of death of the of one of the security holders. A copy of death certificate of the deceased holder duly notarized or attested by a gazetted officer or a notary public. Also, the DP should ensure that the demat account is in the name of surviving holders. Now, this is also, one disadvantage which was associated with the physical shares. There was a possibility of them getting lost in transit. So, post kiya or post mein gum ho gaya. So now here, the account holder will have to give an indemnity for to issue, to the registrar and transfer agent to dematerialize, to convert his shares into demat form. अभी physical certificate का कोई फायदा नहीं है. Physical certificate reissue का कोई फायदा नहीं है. So indemnity देना होगा. Indemnity क्या है? Indemnity means in case the original certificates are traced, okay, and the company has incur some loss, the surviving holder, the holder will have to make good that loss. That is the indemnity. Okay. So this is for taking care of the rare possibility कि जो आपके original certificate है वो misuse हो जाए इसलिए. So here, so DP will provide issuer proof of dispatch and also confirm that certificates are not returned undelivered at their end. If the certificates have not been returned undelivered and not traceable at the issuer RT agent office, then assume that the certificates have been lost in transit. In such case, DP shall execute an indemnity bond in favor of the issuer or RT agent. If the issuer RT agent has already rejected the original demat request, then fresh demat request is to be sent by DP and indemnity bond duly executed, submitted to the issuer RTA along with a new demat request number. And the issuer shall accept the demat request and carry out dematerialization on basis of the indemnity bond given to the DP. So, in case where issuer has rejected the demat request form and dispatch the same to the DP and such certificate are lost in transit, then indemnity bond is to be executed and submitted to the issuer along with the new DRN. In such cases, the DP is requested to obtain prior consent from the issuer for execution of indemnity. Now, there was a risk of fake or forged duplicate certificate also. So, in case where the issuers have rejected the DMAT request form, for such reason where the rejection cannot be rectified by a beneficial owner or depository participant, the issuer RTA agent will retain the documents. Such rejection may be on account of fake, forged, duplicate, issued or already issued, court injunction, etc. In such cases, the DP should obtain rejection letters from issuers and hand over the same to the beneficial owner in order to enable the beneficial owner to take up the matter with the issuer, registrar, or registrar and transfer agent concerned. Now, what happens? We have seen the maximum holders in a DMAT account can be 3. Now, what happens when the shares are held by held in more than 3 names? So, in that case, we will have to see what is the holding of in the DMAT account, and you will retain 2 holders, ensuring that the pattern of holding as per the certificate tallies with the pattern of holding as per the account. If it doesn't tally, then what can we do? डीमैट अकाउंट है एबीसी के नाम पे और शेयर्स है एसीबी के नाम पे, तो इसमें क्या कर सकते हैं? हम कुछ कर सकते हैं? What process we'll have to do?
Ma'am, transposition.
We'll have to do transposition, correct. So in case of NSDL, enter the first holder's name and the first holder field and accommodating the rest of the name in the field for second and third holder. The standing instruction to credit, receipt instruction, new issue application, any other instruction which has effect on the crediting this account should not be accepted. Okay. So this account can be used only for the purpose of dematerialization, and once all certificates have been dematerialized, such account should be closed and shares transferred to a new account opened in the name of maximum 3 holders. Now, this brings us to rematerialization. Rematerialization का क्या मतलब होगा?
Ma'am, when demat securities are converted into physical form, it's called remat.
Yes. So, yeah, remat is the opposite of demat. Demat, you're converting your security in physical form into electronic entry, whereas remat is the opposite, where you are converting your securities held in electronic form into physical certificate. Okay. So, क्या process होना चाहिए इसका? What should be the process logically?
Ma'am, we have to request. We have to do request for our.
With whom will you request?
No, ma'am, may I?
Let Khushbu try. Khushbu किसके पास request करेंगे आप?
Depository participant.
Correct. So the beneficial owners will have to give a request to the depository participant. Now, what the depository participant would do? Can depository participant issue physical securities? Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
Who will issue?
Ma'am, transfer registrar and transfer agent.
That's either the issuer or registrar and transfer agent. So the depository participant will only accept the request and forward it to the registrar and transfer agents for issue of physical securities. So like the bank account, the demat account would be debited and he will be given physical share certificates or physical securities for the request. So under this process, the depository account of the beneficial owner is debited for securities sought to be rematerialized and physical certificate or for the equivalent number of securities is issued. A DP will check whether sufficient free lock-in balances of the securities sought to be rematerialized is available in the account of the client. If sufficient balance is available, the DP accepts a rematerialization request form and communicates the request to the depository through the DP system. The DP should forward the rematerialized request to the issuer or the transfer agent within 7 days of accepting the rematerialization request form. So on receipt of acceptance from the issuer or its RT agent, the depository removes the balance from the respective client's accounts by debiting the account. On rematerialization, RT agent issue security certificate as per specification given by the client in the RRF. Thereafter, the issuer of its RT agent dispatch the security certificate for rematerialized securities to the client, and his name is entered in the registered members of the company. So then the shareholder has these securities in electronic form in the records of the RT agent. The registered owner is depository. However, when he converts it into physical form, his name is added to the register of members. So the beneficial owner of the security should make the request, should have sufficient free lock in securities, lock-in balance of securities available in the beneficiary account to honor the rematerialization request. So DP should provide rematerialization request to the client. The client should complete rematerialization request in all respect and submit to the DP. The DP should check the validity of the remat request form, completeness and correctness. If the RRF is found in order, the DP should return the RRF to the, if not found in order, it should be returned to the client for rectification. If remat request form is found in order, then DP should accept RRFs and issue an acknowledgement to the client. DP should enter the rematerialization request in DP system. The DP system will generate a remat request number or RNN, which should mention on the RRF. An authorized person other than one who entered the RRF details in DP system should verify the details of RNN and release the request to the depository. The DP should complete the authorization of RRF and forward it to the issuer or RNT agent for rematerialization. The DP should forward the RRF to the issuer or its RNT agent within 7 days of accepting it from the client. The issuer should verify the RRF for validity completely and correctness. Also, it should match with the details with the intimation received from the depository against the same RNN. So that's why if you see there is interconnectivity between the DP, the depository and the RNT. So in case the issuer or its RNT agent finds RRF in order, it should confirm the remat request. The issuer or its RNT agent should then proceed to issue the physical security certificate and dispatch them to the beneficial owner. In case RRF is not found to be in order, the issuer or its RNT agent should send an objection memo to the DP with or without RRF, depending on the rejection reason for rejection. So only on receipt of confirmation from the RNT, the DP will confirm the debit entry in the DP system and should inform the client accordingly. RNT should send the certificate to beneficial owner within 30 days from the date of request in the depository system. And as I told you, trading can only happen in electronic form. So if the customer has converted into a physical certificate, he will not be able to trade. So no trading is possible on securities sent for rematerialization. Now let us see how trading and settlement happen. Trading is actually buying and selling, but the transaction is not complete until the securities are transferred from the seller to the buyer's account, and the funds move from the buyer account to the seller account. So transfer of securities from one demat account to another may be done in one of the following manner. So it can be off-market transaction, which I explained, where you do not have to go to the market. You know the buyer or the seller, and the transaction is entered between the two of you. So that is an off-market trade. Then transfer arising out of trade executed on the stock exchange. This is also known as market transaction. And then we have also seen transfer arising out, transmission and account closure. So off-market transactions are transactions between two accounts on mutually agreeable terms, and a transaction done on a person-to-person basis without going through the stock exchange mechanism. Then transfer arising out of a trade executed on a stock exchange is the market transaction, and another transfer transaction can be because of transmission and account closure. So in an off-market transaction, the instructions pass from the seller to his depository, and based on his instruction, the depository hands over the certificates or delivers the certificate to the depository. They then send it to the buyer's depository participant, and the buyer's account is credited. So seller gives direction, DIS or delivery instruction slip to his DP to move securities from his account to the buyer's account. Buyers automatically receives the credit of the security into his account on basis of standing instructions for credit. So that I had explained to you earlier, standing instruction for, so for any transaction, the instructions from the customers are required. However, for credit, usually customers give standing instructions, so they don't have the inconvenience of going to the depository for every transaction. Buyer receives credit of securities into his account only if he gives receipt instruction, if standing instructions have not been given. Depository participant needs to be extra careful in verifying the signature of the client if large quantity of securities are being debited to the account and funds move from buyer to the seller account outside the depository system. In off-market transaction, the funds move from the buyer to the seller also through the depository system, because the transaction has happened through the market. So that is about the depository operation and dematerialization. So in case you have any questions or something about this, we have a couple of minutes left. We can solve it now, or we can answer it now. Another thing I wanted to ask is, I probably missed the mail. Did you have the schedule for this week? Arpita?
Yes, ma'am. We've got the schedule from 26 to 30 for this week.
What is all?
Yes.
What is all to be covered?
Ma'am, tomorrow will be aptitude, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Aptitude is scheduled for tomorrow.
I think I missed that mail, so I'll have, tomorrow is aptitude. And what else we have to cover this week? Because we took a lot of time for depository also.
Ma'am, just give me a minute. I'll be checking. Just a minute.
Arpita, can you share it with me on WhatsApp?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. For sure.
तो कल क्या एप्टीट्यूड में जो भी हमने देखा था वो तो हमने कवर कर लिया था. So tomorrow what will you like to me to cover in aptitude? जो भी topics थे, और let me discuss with Sakshi, because all the topics she had given us we had covered in the classroom itself. So let me see. So most probably will not have aptitude tomorrow. I'll speak with Sakshi as to what is to be done. And just share the schedule. Probably we have to cover financial planning also this week.
Ma'am, next is portfolio management. I've shared the screenshot. Please go through that.
So we'll probably do portfolio management tomorrow. And aptitude, I'll see what's to be done, because I think we have covered everything, everything else. Okay, fine. So any other questions you guys have?
Oh, ma'am, I've read an article this morning only, and I just wanted to like discuss something over that. Can I?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Ma'am, SEBI has issued a new guideline according to which 20% of the gross salary of the fund managers
Should be linked
need
to, yeah.
should be paid in or in the in terms of units. So why SEBI would have done so? I just wanted to matlab,
To
I'm
keep the interest of the fund manager in the in the fund. So for example, I am managing a fund. I don't have anything to lose, no? So if
yeah.
I owe some units there, as a fund manager, I would ensure that this fund does not incur any loss, right?
Ma'am, do you think it's a great idea to matlab, will it work? I was thinking matlab, this though I understood that it is a matter of accountability, that fund managers should be accountable for what they are doing. But do you think it is a better way? Because what was
I think it would work, because even to motivate the employees,
yeah.
corporate give ESOPs to them,
Yeah.
or shares to them.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, when will the share of the company grow? When they are a profit-making company, or when they report good profits. So, if the employee wants to earn from the shares, he will put his best. He's the owner of that business. So it is putting the onus of the linking your profit to the profit of the scheme. I think it should work. It's a good idea, and I'm sure if you don't use your own product, what is the credibility of your product? Right? As a fund manager, if you're collecting money from various investors for investment, and you don't invest in that particular scheme, what is your credibility?
Yeah.
So like underwriters. So for example, investment bankers. Investment bankers are also the underwriters.
Yeah. They are
Right?
right.
So that means they have faith in their own judgment. So probably that is why SEBI has come up with this step.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so if you guys don't have anything, we will call it a day, and tomorrow we'll do portfolio management. And aptitude, I'll check with Sakshi, because I think we have covered all the topics we had to, whatever the topics she had sent.
Ma'am, we have not done probability.
Probability, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so let's do probability. Acha, today is Thursday. Oh, okay, we are already on the, okay, tomorrow is your, okay, so let me check. I'll let you know by day end कि क्या करेंगे, ठीक है? Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Probability we have not done.
Yes.
Okay, so let me check if I can do probability tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll do portfolio management. Okay, so in case you don't have anything else to say, we will call it a day. But I think outside this session, you guys should interact and discuss and have question and answer sessions. I think that would be required for your interview preparation. So we are not able to do it the way we used to do it in physical classroom, but all of you can get together maybe on a WhatsApp call or a Zoom call and have a question and answer session with each other. Especially Arpita and Khushbu, you should guide others how to answer questions and how to understand what is being asked, because this is one problem which I see when I ask a question. कुछ अतरंगी आंसर आता है ना क्वेश्चन से रिलेटेड.
मैम नेक्स्ट टाइम
वो सीखना पड़ेगा क्योंकि इंटरव्यू में सिलेक्शन उसी से होगा. सो आई थिंक ऑल ऑफ यू, देवेश और राहुल से भी पूछ लो, राहुल कुमार से उसकी तबीयत जब ठीक हो जाए, तो यू शुड हैव एटलीस्ट a half an hour call amongst yourself to for this question answer session.
Yeah, I was thinking
good
this.
idea.
I was thinking, so it's a good idea.
It's a good idea, no?
But
Yes,
ma'am.
most of us are having network issues over there. So this is the thing we need to think twice before doing this. So
No, so don't do a, Zoom maybe requires more bandwidth. You do through a WhatsApp, yeah? What's the big
Yeah.
deal? Do through a WhatsApp.
yeah, right.
So amongst all of you can do a WhatsApp call. और अभी तो घर पे ही रहना है, कहीं जाना भी नहीं है, तो घर टाइम भी होगा आपके पास.
Hmm.
तो मतलब अगर आपको नौकरी चाहिए तो ये करो, नहीं चाहिए तो कोई बात ही नहीं.
Definitely
सही
चाहिए
है।
मैम, नहीं चाहिए का ऑप्शन इज नॉट देयर.
तो आई एम श्योर कि सबके पास अपने अलग अलग रीजंस होंगे, बट मुझे लगता है कि अगर आपको नौकरी चाहिए, सो यू शुड गेट इन दिस इंटरेक्शन सो दैट यू हैव द कॉन्फिडेंस टू स्पीक व्हेन यू गो फॉर एन इंटरव्यू. ठीक है?
ओके मैम.
Yes, ma'am.
तो मुझे बताना आपने क्या प्लान किया है. टुमारो वी विल डिस्कस अबाउट इट.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
And probably tomorrow we will have portfolio management only, not probability. Maybe we will have it on Monday then. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, chalo,
Okay, ma'am.
bye-bye.
Bye. Have a nice
Thank you,
day.
ma'am.